Welcome to the 30th, yes, the 30th live Tony's Acoustic Challenge Hangout. There is a ton of fun in store today and a lot of great info in store as well. Today, I'm going to start off with a workshop designed to share with you two approaches that I recommend to build speed into your playing. Of course, there's a lot of caveats and some technique tips that I'm going to share with you that coincide with these two approaches, but these are two things that you can do if you've ever asked yourself the question, gosh, I wish I could just play a little bit faster, or I really want to work on my speed. I'm going to share with you two ways to do that in a way that isn't so crazy, in a way that doesn't, in a way that's not frustrating. Let's just put it that way. I want to welcome you to the Hangout, of course. I've got a lot of information to share with you guys today. I want you to start right now. I want you to start thinking about some small wins that you may have experienced last month, and I'll tell you what to do with those here in a second. I want to also make you aware that I partook in a hockey bet, and I'll be sharing with you a pretty fun video that I shot this morning in regards to that. Actually, there's two hockey bets. This is the latter of the two. The first one I will be making good on here in a little bit, probably tomorrow or the next day. But there's a lot of great information. And of course, 2017 is going to be an enormous year. And I'm just really excited to share with you some of the things I have in store for 2017. So today's going to rock. Welcome, and of course, Happy New Year to you. It is January 2017, and I'm sure many of you have set out on some guitar journeys, have resolved to do something with your guitar this year, get better, play a gig, whatever it may be. I'm hoping that what I'm going to share with you during this workshop today help that. And oh, I forgot to mention, of course, I'll be giving away a guitar today. Forget to mention this, and it drives me nuts. It's this, I'll show you what it is. It's a really, really nice, I figured we'd kick off 2017 right. It's a Koa GS Mini with an ES2 system installed on it. So I'm pretty excited to be giving this away to a practice plan completer for the month of December. And yeah, I think we should just dive in with the workshop. Levi, are things looking good? What's it looking like over there?
Everything is looking really awesome right now. Hello, everybody. I wanted to show off my my new tack sweatshirt. It's the most comfortable thing I've ever worn. It's awesome. There are just everybody saying loud and clear. Looks great. Sounds great. And I don't know. There's so much going on over here. I don't even think I can keep track.
This is my 2017 look, so I'm glad that people say it looks good.
Yeah, they're bbig fans. It's a whole new Tony.
Yeah, if you can notice what's different from 2016 to 2017, please leave comment. I would appreciate knowing what the difference is. What else did I want to say? There was another thing that I wanted to say, and I forgot what it was. But maybe I should just dive in with the workshop because I think these are some things that I really want to help you out with. Been getting a lot of questions about the speed challenge lately, and that's kind of what prompted me to discuss speed. And let me share with you some of my thoughts on speed first, and then I'll get into some approaches. I made a couple notes here. Working on speed is a very difficult thing, and I say this because you're working on, it's almost like a compound. There's two things going on at once. Of course, you want to get faster, so you're working on tempo and rhythmic accuracy, but you also need to remember that technique is really important. Playing something fast with poor technique is not good. It doesn't sound good. It sounds anxious. It almost has an anxious feeling to it. The tone is very inconsistent. The timing is very inconsistent, and it just sounds sloppy. So, you know, if you ever find yourself trying to work on speed and you think, "Gosh, I just feel like I get sloppy the faster I go," this workshop will definitely help you out. I will tell you this: one of the foremost rules in getting faster on the guitar and working on speed is to start slow. And this seems very, very counterintuitive because you want to get faster, why would you start slow? But a very thorough comprehension of an exercise, a skill, whatever it may be, slowly if you comprehend it slowly and can execute it slowly with great accuracy and great technique and tone, gaining speed will be much easier. However, if you just come out right out of the gate, you know, it's like if you go out for a run. Speaking of my hockey bet, if you go out for a run and you don't stretch, you're likely to hurt yourself, or just, you know, if you go out and sprint, you're likely to hurt yourself. It's the same idea with speed. So let me give you my two approaches. But before I give you these two approaches, I want you to keep in mind a few things, and I've taken a couple notes and I want to share with you. First and foremost, when working on speed, relax. Okay. This goes to this whole idea of being tense. Being tense will not help you be faster. A lot of times when we hear a fast tempo, we try to play along with the fast tempo, we immediately tense up. And already you've set yourself up a huge roadblock. Because the more tense you are, the less success you will have in going faster. And I dig into this in extreme detail in the Wogi workshop, which is in the TAC Academy. So for those of you who may not have not heard of the Wogi workshop, or maybe you're new members, please visit the TAC Academy, because I go through a whole section about managing physical tension. And again, that can be found in the Wogi workshop. I know it's a goofy name, but you got to check it out if you haven't already. So relaxing is so huge. And this is true for finger picking or flat picking, okay? If you're flat picking, you want to have a nice kind of loose approach with your picking hand. So shake out that tension, make sure that your arms relaxed, elbows relaxed, shoulders relaxed, and you just kind of can breathe. You know, I don't want you sitting there holding your breath, becoming all blue in the face while you're trying to go fast. I had a recent question left on a lesson from Andrew D. He asked a great question. He had looked at my right hand during the video, and he said that my right wrist, picking hand wrist, is very still. And he asked, you know, is it okay that my wrist moves? And my answer to him, and a lot of times my answer to these questions is that, you know, we're all built very different in terms of physically how we approach the guitar, how we hold the guitar, what's comfortable for us. So one of the main kind of criteria I look for in technique, especially when working on speed, is that, are you relaxed? You know, and in this case, in Andrew's case, I responded with, hey, as long as your tone's not affected, your technique's not affected, as long as you're relaxed and not tense, and it doesn't affect your timing, it's all good. You know, if you have a nice loose wrist and you're following through with your pick, that's great. A lot of times, because I move my pick very little, I try and get a lot of impact out of a very little pick movement. You'll see in the videos, you know, my wrist doesn't move a whole heck of a lot. That's okay. If yours happens to move more, don't worry about it. As long as your timing's not affected, your technique's not affected, your tone's not affected, and you're not holding tension, you're in good shape. And remember, with flat picking, always approach the string with a 45-degree angle and use your thumb as a toggle switch. And again, I go into great detail on that in the Wogi workshop, which is again located in the TAC Academy. And for you finger pickers out there working on speed, remember your basics, okay? Don't be tense. I mean, this whole idea of tension spans both techniques. Don't hold your picking hand very tensely, because it's not going to help you go faster. Don't hold your breath. Relax. Let gravity do the work. And again, for those of you who may be looking for a little bit more explanation on how to let gravity do the work, again, visit the Wogi workshop in the TAC Academy. So that's rule number one: relax. Just don't be tense. That actually, relaxing will help you go faster. Basic tip number two, and I said this already at the beginning: start slowly. Okay, if you're looking to do something at 160 beats per minute, that's your target, that's your goal. Start slow. Start at 60 beats per minute. It's going to seem absolutely crazy, but when I share with you these two different approaches on getting faster, you'll see why I'm encouraging you to start slow. And thirdly, keep your timing accurate. And this really does coincide with starting slow. But as you're progressing through tempos, working towards faster tempos, be accurate with your timing. As soon as you start to feel like you're shaky on your timing, knock the metronome back a little bit, okay? It's so important that you don't just play fast and disregard timing or rhythm, okay? It's really, really crucial. And this is slightly contradicts one of my methods, but I'll share with you. I'll explain a little bit more detail. So now that we've got some basics out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about getting faster. There's two approaches that I use. The one is a very measured, calculated approach, and that's with the metronome. The second is a very kind of willy-nilly, play as fast as you can approach. And these are two approaches that should be used together. This isn't one or the other. This is do these together, okay? It's really important to realize that. It's also really important to realize that as you're working on getting faster. I'm going to use a basic warm-up here, the basic kind of one finger per fret warm-up, the chromatic warm-up that goes like this. It's very important to remember that there's a lot going on already in that warm-up. Okay, you've got proper pick direction, proper frets. So make sure that, again, you start slowly. And if you feel like you just need to like warm your picking hand up, that's where we're going to start with the metronome. So the calculated kind of, I'm just pulling up my metronome right now. I'm not answering a call. The calculated kind of a measured way to get faster is to have a metronome going, okay? And I like to start at 60. It's a good feeling tempo for me. And obviously you guys can hear this. The one is accented right there. It's just a basic 4 count. And what I'll do to just warm up my pick is I'll take the fretting completely out of the picture, okay? And I'm just gonna kind of picking on the G string here. And I'll just do a basic down, up, 8th note count on this, this basic metronome beat. So it'll be like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. When I've got that, I'm gonna bump it up to 80 beats per minute. These are pretty large jumps at the beginning, but I just want to kind of show you how I work through the metronome thing. So at 80 beats per minute, I'll do the same thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'll keep going up. I'll bump it up to 100. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on and so forth. I'll go in 20 beats per minute kind of intervals until I reach my target speed, which I'm going to put this one at 160. So 160 would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. By working up and just focusing on your picking hand, you're able to stay relaxed and only focus on one thing, okay? This is so crucial because I think a lot of times we see an exercise or a warm-up in this case, in the case of Tony's Acoustic Challenge, you want to dive into it right away. Yeah, I want you to dive into it right away, but as you're working on speed, remember the components. There's the fretting component and the picking component. And in doing just the picking component, you're kind of warming up your hand to the tempo that you're striving to reach. And this could be different for everybody, okay? So I'm using 160 as a baseline. If 100 is fast to you, do the same approach, work up to 100 with just your picking hand. Then I want you to back down all the way to 60 or 40 or whatever, you know, is a nice, slow, comfortable pace for you, and then start integrating the picking. So I've got it on 60 right now, or integrating the fretting rather. So I've got it on 60 right now, and I'll just go ahead and work through that warm-up. Okay, I've done one series at 60. It felt good. It felt comfortable. Again, bump it up to 80. And I'm making big jumps here, but you get the idea. I want you to graduate through tempos. And the reason I'm having you graduate through tempos is because it's less jarring. You're actually just easing into the faster tempos as opposed to starting at 160 and saying, go. That's really hard to just jump in at that tempo. So here I am at 80. I'll go through it at 80. So on and so forth. I'll continue graduating up the tempos until I reach my target tempo. And I'm going to put it at 160 since that was my target from the get-go. Again, I'm speeding this up for the sake of demonstration. I want you to go ahead and walk through 10 to 20 BPM increments on your metronome. So here I am at 160. I've graduated through the tempos. Cool. Got it. It was easy because I graduated through the tempos. Again, I'm speeding this up for the sake of demonstration, but it is so crucial to take the time to start slowly and graduate up, because then your fast or target tempo won't feel as fast. However, if I just started at 160 cold and didn't warm up at all, it would feel very fast. It would feel slightly out of control. I don't have a baseline. Starting slowly gives you a baseline that you can slowly move from into your target tempo. So one of the questions you might have is, what if I just derail before my target tempo? Great. That's awesome. Just dial the metronome back to the previous tempo that you had success with and stay there for a while. Okay. And like I said, I'm recommending 10 to 20 BPM increments. Let's say you're going towards 160 and 140, you just hit a wall. It's not happening. Okay, no big deal. Go back to 120. Do that for a while. Do that for 2-3 minutes. And then do a 10 BPM increment. Don't go from 120 to 140. Go from 120 to 130. Try that out. If it still feels like you're hitting a wall, go back to 120. Repeat. And then go to 125. Okay, so we're slowly trying to get faster. And by using these slow increments, you'll find that you'll achieve faster speeds quicker with better results than if you just try and do these immediate jumps. In the warm-ups, the weekly warm-ups, we have, generally speaking, 80, 100, and 120 on the slow end of things, and then anywhere from 140 through 200 on the speed challenge exercises. Those are my demonstrating tempos. I want to encourage you to use a metronome in the way that I've described here to get faster. Our fast, our quote-unquote target tempos will be different for everybody, and that's okay. But just make sure that you're approaching your unique target tempo in a calculated, measured way. That's the first method for getting faster. The second method for getting faster throws away the metronome. It throws away everything I just talked about. And it literally is play as fast as you can. That's it, okay? And it seems a little crazy to say that, but I think there is an added element of stress when the metronome is present. Does that mean metronomes are bad? No, metronomes are absolutely necessary. Are they annoying as hell? Completely, yes. I absolutely hate the sound of a metronome, especially after I've been listening to it all morning. But it's necessary because you can calculate your results. You can calculate your increments. You can measure your results. It's a gauge to say, wow, I am doing this faster. Whereas this second approach to getting faster takes that out of the picture. So the reason I say that it's not one or the other, it's both of these approaches, is because I think they're both necessary. By doing the second approach, where it's kind of like this willy-nilly, again, play as fast as you can approach, it takes the metronome out of the equation, so you don't have that stress. You don't have that constant thing. You don't have that constant measure going, saying, God, am I being accurate? Is my rhythm accurate? You're literally just going through an exercise as fast as you can, as accurately as you can. Was that clean? Was that anything close to perfect? No, it wasn't. But the whole idea is that I'm trying to push myself to play as fast as I can. Okay, and in doing that, I think unconsciously what's happening is your picking hand, your fretting hand are getting used to going fast, an unmeasured fast. And I think ultimately you're building kind of this physical habit of allowing yourself to be relaxed because the metronome's not present, but still play fast. And I'm putting that in quotes because we don't know how fast it is. It's just fast. It feels fast. This way, when you bounce back to the metronome, you can realize that, wow, what I was trying to play that was fast for me was actually way faster than a tempo that I'm my target tempo. Oftentimes, I find that's the case. If I'm trying to do 200 beats per minute as a target tempo and use my metronome, and I just kind of put the metronome away for a second, I'm going to try and play as fast as I can, I'll end up going back to the metronome and thinking, holy cow, 200 doesn't seem that fast. But it's all context because of the two different approaches. And again, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm saying that both are necessary to achieve faster playing. And what I mean by faster playing is different for everybody. To some people, 80 beats per minute is fast. that's fine. You can use these same methods to get faster, achieve that, or get faster. Likewise, 160, 180 might be the target tempo for other players. That's fine. Use these same approaches. So hopefully those two things will help you. And again, always keep those basics in mind. Be relaxed, start slow, and focus on your timing. It's so crucial, especially when doing the measured kind of metronome approach. So hopefully that helps you guys out with just getting faster in general, and of course with the speed challenges on Tony's Acoustic Challenge, because I really want you guys to push yourselves to become faster players. But again, always keep that tone and technique kind of close to your heart, and don't ever forget about those, because I don't want you to just try and play something fast and have it sound horrible.
So Noah brings up using a drum track as a possible way to go about
Absolutely.
it. And it spurred a lot of conversation. Sounds like a lot of people hadn't thought of that and want to try it. And then
Absolutely.
Trace loves the idea because you can do it in GarageBand.
Totally.
And just, I think the subdivisions of the hi-hat and the snare and the kick kind of helps.
Absolutely. There's and I appreciate Noah bringing that up, because, I think the metronome gets a bad rap because it is boring. I'm not here to flower up the metronome. It's super boring. But if you don't mind the metronome, great. If you think the metronome is just really just, you can't even listen to it, find drum tracks, find backing tracks, find something that has some musicality to it, so that you can interact with it. Anything with a beat, be it your favorite album, a drum track in this case, acts as a measure for you. So anything that measures time for you, again, it doesn't have to be a metronome with precise measurement. It can be anything like a drum track. That's a great recommendation. I'm glad you brought that up. And I'll just say, for those of you who are curious what metronome I'm using, it is the Pro metronome. I don't know if you guys can see this even. Maybe there's some glare or something. But I've found this really, really useful. I also use drum tracks in GarageBand as well for those days when I just can't hear the beeping of the metronome.
Trace has us. You just wanted to let everybody know that there's other options too. You can also do different sounds. Like you can turn it into a heartbeat or a toilet flushing over and over. So lots of different ways to go.
Which is, it gets you used to playing in public. It's like one step before open mic. No, but I think it is important. Again, metronomes get a bad rap, as they should, because they are boring. But there are things you can do, as Trace and Noah have recommended, that really allow for a diverse offering of sounds. If toilet flushing is your thing, use that as your timekeeper. That's fine.
So Tony, there's just a ton of people on right now. I think I should try rattling off some names, even though there's just so many. I don't know if I can get through them. But
I think you should.
But also,
I think you can.
And I appreciate that suggestion. But I have one for you. I think you're stalling. I think you're trying to drag this out because we happen to have this video of you.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. So
should we just jump into that?
I think we should.
It was fun. Okay. Yeah. Should I explain it, or should we just let the video?
Well, I think you explain it in the video, and So. Maybe just the
I'll
explain before the explanation.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you the explanation before the explanation. So I love hockey, as you guys know. Maybe you don't know, but I absolutely love hockey. The Chicago Blackhawks are my team. And occasionally, actually the frequency has increased, people will email me and wager against the Blackhawks because they know that that's my favorite team. And one of the wagers that I just recently got was from TAC member Ray, who's a big-time St. Louis Blues fan. And since the Hawks and the Blues played each other in the Winter Classic here on January 2nd, he made an interesting wager to me, and I'll pretty much let this video do the rest of the explanation. You'll see what the wager was.
Okay, here's a disclaimer. There could be a handful of people watching on YouTube. If that's the case, your screen is about to go black and you'll wonder what happened. So if that's the case, go to tonypolecastro.com/live and you can jump into the chat room where you'll be able to see this video that we're showing.
Bingo.
Here we go.
All right, here goes, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. You can thank TAC member Ray for that one. Melissa, I have not forgotten about you. Melissa and I bet on the Blackhawks Washington Capitals game right around, it was earlier December. And of course, Blackhawks lost on that one too. I figure every time I bet the Blackhawks lose, but they lost on that one. And I have to sing a song regarding I have to sing a song about how good the Washington Capitals are. And I was actually just working on it this morning. For those of you who want to follow up on that bet, keep your eyes peeled in the forum because I'll be posting that here. I plan on recording it today. I'll be using my Gibson SJ per Melissa's request since she won the bet. I figured that it's only fair that I adhere to all the rules. But I'm finally thought out. I did just run that this morning, and I hope you guys all enjoyed that. A little tour around Bozeman on January 4th. So hopefully, what's the verdict, Levi? Did people enjoy that, or did they find they feel bad for me at all?
No, I don't think anybody really felt bad for you. I think everybody's getting a kick out of it. So
Good.
Probably, I'm guessing more bets will come in. You're gonna have to turn down bets if you know what's good for you.
Well, I really have confidence in my Chicago Blackhawks, and maybe I should. Maybe I just shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't. But I do enjoy wagering. It keeps me involved in the season. Sometimes I don't watch the highlights as much as I should, and this definitely keeps me engaged. So just shoot me an email. We got questions. I mean, we have lots of questions.
Yeah, lots of questions. And if you guys didn't see the notification, if you have questions for Tony, because there's a lot of chat in the chat room, and that's cool. But if you have a question for Tony, it'll help me find it if you click the little drop down to the left of where you're typing and select the red question mark, and then it makes it red so that it all goes in one little category for me to find. And with that said, again, we've got a huge turnout. I'll just rattle off some names here, and I think you have a list of some
I have
people.
A list of new people that I'd like to recognize as well, but I want you to go first.
Yeah, because this is huge. Okay, so we've got Cheryl, Allrock, Alan, Anita, Angelo, Arva, Aubrey, Alyssa, Andrew, Ben, Brad, Bradley, Bryce, Fred, Krista, Charles, Brendan, Audie, or 80, I think actually is how you pronounce that. Dave. Actually, there's a ton of Daves. So hello, Dave, and hello, David, and all of you guys. Dom, T, Don, Cynthia, Evan, Everett, Frank, Francis, Gord, Gerald, Gilbert, Gary, Dave, Henrik, Larry, Jeff, James, Edsel, and we've got another list here. We've got Michael, Susan, Pat, Russell, Rob, Ryan, Rod, Richard, Ryder, Ray, Ralph, Pat, Peter, Paul, Norman, Kevin, Matt, Joe, Michael, Melissa, Marty, Mark, Marco, Malcolm, Maggie, Mackay, Christian, Kevin. I'm going through all of them, Tony.
And you're doing an alphabetical order.
Is that? I guess.
It sounds like it.
Okay. Laurel, Jim, Susan, Mike, Ken, Keith,
maybe not.
Charlie, John, Joey, Justin, Jim, Leonard, Jimmy, and James.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Everybody is watching live. So,
hey,
so you have a list.
I do have a list. I had to write this list out. I just want to recognize some new members. I was surfing around in the forum this morning, and there was tons of hellos from new folks on Tony's Acoustic Challenge, and I want to say hello to them. Scott, AJ, Gilbert P, Veronica P, Chad H, Darren, John P, Zane S, James D, Brandon J, James R, Dave S, Jeremy J, Bob K, Vic, Carrie S, which if you haven't seen that profile picture, you're going to have to because there's a substantial mustache. Jeremy L, Peter T, Paul B, Blair P, Wayne M, Fred R, Sean L, Paul J, and Chad H. So welcome to new members. Thanks for popping in the forum and saying hi. If you guys have not done so already, please go make those folks feel welcome because it's just so cool to see all those hellos. I mean, from all over the place. We've got hellos from Switzerland, New Orleans, Jordan. Literally, Scott, who's from Chicago originally, is living in Jordan right now. So we have TAC members all over the place. Chad H from California, who also is a runner. Hopefully he sees the video. So thank you guys for being on TAC, and of course a welcome. I've got two more. I have to send a thank you out to two TAC members, three actually. First of all, a huge thank you to Leo. He sent Levi and I some chocolates from Switzerland. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. And I also want to thank Dee Dee and Kenny. I just checked the mail this morning and just brought it in and didn't open anything, but saw that there was a package from you guys. So thank you guys very much. Just to, it's always good to feel the love here at TAC headquarters. Sometimes I feel like we're in a winter wonderland, which you guys, of course, saw. And it always feels good to open the mail and see that TAC members are, bestowing gifts upon us, which, I should have had a chocolate bar as I was running outside. I think that would have really been quite the feat, but I probably would have choked. Anyways.
Hey, do you want to take some questions?
Yes.
And then I don't know where we're at. We're going way over on time.
Yeah, I need direction today.
You have a guitar to give away.
It's true.
It's true. We have let's do a round of questions.
Yes.
Let's come back and do a wins report.
Yes.
And then give away a guitar and then more questions.
Absolutely. And remember, for those of you, please, maybe who are just joining, think of some small wins or a small win that you experienced last month or maybe even already early this month. Just store those in your brain, because I want to do a little wins report here coming up, and I'll tell you what to do, of course. But I'm open for questions. Let's do the questions. Let's hit it.
This is from Ben M. Could you please explain the number system you often refer to during the key chords lessons?
Yeah, that's great. Great question. I'm going to do my best to do so in an abbreviated way here. The Nashville number system, which is one of the beauties about the Nashville number system, the beauty, I think, is that it is not key specific. What I mean by that is this. In every key, in every major scale, each note within the scale corresponds to a chord. Okay, and so if we look at a major scale, the first, fourth, and fifth note will elicit major chords, naturally occurring major chords. The second, third, and sixth notes will elicit naturally occurring minor chords. So as long as you know the key, and as long as you know the notes in the scale of the key, you essentially can figure out the chords that are within that key. So let's look at C for an example. For C, we have the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And if I'm thinking about the number system, that first chord, or the first note, again, remember that was on the list of our major chords, that elicits C major chord. The fourth and fifth notes are F and G, so that means it's an F major and a G major. And remember I said the second, third, and sixth notes elicit a naturally occurring minor chord. So that would give us D, which is the second note, so D minor, an E minor, which is the third note, and a sixth minor, which is, or the sixth note, which is an A, would give you an A minor. That seventh degree, I actually refer back to the fifth note. So I would substitute the B diminished with a G7. So essentially you can play all the chords in a given key as long as you know the notes within the scale. As follows: the one chord would be, or let me start over. The first degree would be a major chord, C. The second degree would be a minor chord, D minor. The third degree would be a minor chord, E minor. The fourth degree would be a major chord, F major. The fifth degree would be a major chord, G major. The sixth degree would be a minor chord, A minor. And again, I'm doing a substitution for the seventh degree. That I'm going to revert to the fifth, the seventh. So it'd be a G7 substitution there, and then back to the C. So that's just one example of the number system. Now, I think it's most important to really remember the 1, the 4, and the 5 of a given key. And really, you could limit yourself to the following: C, A, G, E, and D. If you remember the 1, 4, and 5 in those keys, you're in really good shape, because, of course, you can base the 2, 3, and 6 off of the fact that you know the 1, 4, and 5. If you know the 1, you go up a whole step, you know the 2. If you know the 4, you go down a whole step, you know the third, or a half step rather. If you know the fifth, you go up a whole step to the sixth degree. So there's a lot to the number system, but it's a way to very quickly recognize chords. And I think I'm glad you noticed it in the key chords, and you know that, and you kind of hear me talking about it, because I think the more that you are exposed to that language, the more it starts to sink in, and you'll start to recognize the pattern. And I promise you, one thing will happen. It's different for everybody, but one day you'll be listening to it and it'll just click. I went through a very quick explanation here, but the more you listen to the language, the more you're exposed to this whole 1-4-5 notion, or this whole number system notion, it will click, I promise. And if it doesn't click within the key chord segment, one of the courses I have planned for 2017 will certainly make it click, because it's dedicated to the number system. So great question. Really, really good question. A deep question, if you will.
A couple small wins are floating in.
Nice.
I know that you're going to get to that in a second, but Vic G did mention that he flew to the East Coast and hung out with everybody in jams. So that was his small win.
That's a very small. That's a geographically large win. So I'd put that in the large win category. I'd put that in the extravagantly awesome win category.
So Mike says, hey, Tony, finally got my Gretsch resonator.
Nice.
Would recommend Open D or Open G for a beginner with slide guitar? Thanks.
I really like what they call bluegrass G tuning. If you're talking about a square neck resonator. So I'm going to cover both bases here, just in case it's a question that more than one of you have. If you got a square neck resonator, meaning the neck is square, it's meant to be played lap style. If that's what you have, I would recommend what they call bluegrass G tuning, which low to high is G, B, D, G, B, D. If you happen to have a round neck resonator that you'd play like this with a bottleneck slide or just finger style, I would actually recommend open D tuning. So low to high, that would be D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. And the reason being is that those square neck lap style resonators can take a higher tuning, which is that bluegrass G tuning is a higher tuning, and it's more common. It's a little bit easier to navigate. And the round neck style resonator, you don't want to put that much tension on the neck. So that's why I would revert to that D, that open D tuning. But congrats on the new reso. That's stellar. I'm super pumped for you. And nothing sounds like a resonator guitar. So you're about to embark on an awesome journey.
I have two pick related questions, one from Paul, one from Kevin.
Okay.
Paul says, I currently use a 45 millimeter because it flexes. Most others use thicker. Does the pick flex, or are you angling it or rotating it?
That's a really good question. So I went through when I went through this phase where I was using thinner picks, and I thought this is great because the pick gives when I hit the string. And then later on, somebody had told me, "Oh, if you're going to play bluegrass guitar, you got to play a thicker pick," which I think is true to a degree. And let me explain why I think that's true. The thinner picks, you really have less dynamic control over. Because you can only dig in so hard because the pick flexes. Whereas if you play with a thicker pick, you have a lot of dynamic control. Meaning, let me explain. As far as dynamics are concerned, if you hold the pick loosely, hold on loosely. You guys are probably all humming that now. If you hold the pick loosely, that essentially allows the pick to give a little bit, and that elicits a softer tone. Whereas if I really grab onto the pick, I can elevate that tone. So dynamically, in terms of a volume level, I have a ton of control with a thicker pick. Again, looser grip equals softer tone, harder grip, louder tone. But the trade-off is this. When you use a thicker pick, it's way more sensitive to the angle with which you approach the strings. So if you're going to try out a thicker pick, expect an adjustment period, because you're going to want to really focus on the angle with which you approach the strings, because you want that pick to almost feel as if it's going through the string as opposed to getting hung up on the string and then snapping off. And the way that we avoid that kind of snapping off feeling is by approaching the string on an angle. and using that thumb as a toggle. So I don't think there's anything wrong with thinner picks, but I do feel like you have less dynamic control with them. And I think just trying out a thicker pick and just kind of refining your physical approach with it and your technique will really open up a whole window of opportunity in terms of actually being able to play faster and having way more control over your volume. And you'll also realize how big of an effect the pick actually has on the tone of a guitar. A lot of times people will say, my guitar sounds really thin. And one of my first questions is, what kind of pick are you using? Because usually the thinner the pick, the thinner the tone. The fatter the pick, the fatter the tone. And that's just a loose rule, but I think it would really behoove you to at least try the thicker ones. If you hate them, what's the worst? Well, you're out $2 or whatever the pick costs. But at least you know the kind of other end of the spectrum. But that's a really great question.
Judith says there are so many scales, but what are the most important scales that you really have to know?
I would say that's a tough question. I was like all of them, but not. But really, if you learn the basic major scale, and I'm talking about not key specific here, just the construction of the basic major scale in terms of whole steps and half steps, and that recipe is as follows: whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. You learn the basic major scale. Every scale you'll learn from that point forward will be based on some sort of alteration to that major scale. And in fact, when I was first learning, I had the same question. I bought a book called Chords and Scales. It had a blue cover. I bought it. I was out on a date with a girl, with a real girl. I was like first year in college. We went to the movies. There was a Barnes and Noble. I wanted to show her that I play guitar, but I didn't want to actually play guitar for her because I didn't feel like I was that good. So I bought a guitar book thinking that would do the same thing. Obviously that didn't work out. But anyways, I thought, holy cow, I have to learn all of these scales. This is a lot to ask of me, of anybody. And come to, later on in hindsight, if you learn the major scale, just the basic construction of the major scale, in fact, C major is a great place to start because it doesn't have any sharps or flats. If you learn that basic construction of the major scale, everything else you will learn from that point forward will be an alteration of that major scale. So I think, in terms of remembering something and really, really hardwiring your brain, wrap it around that major scale, in particular the C major scale. And then when you learn other scales, see how those other scales are alterations of that. I think it'll help. It'll take up less bandwidth in your brain, but it'll also allow you to recognize patterns much easier.
So we've got some wins coming in. Do you want to just do that officially right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who haven't typed in your small wins yet, please do so. If you've been thinking about, at the beginning, I asked you to think of some small wins you maybe experienced in the last month or earlier this month. We're only 4 days in, but hey, small wins can happen at any point in time. This could be anything from like, holy cow, I finally got an F chord, to I nailed my pick direction, or I learned, one section of a song that was really difficult. Could be anything, but type in your small wins. I just want to again celebrate those because I think it helps keep that positive momentum for all of us. It could be something as little as I finally figured out how to really dial in the tuning on my guitar. That's a legitimate small win because I get tons of questions about that, and I just anything really that you just feel like the light bulb went off, or you feel just super victorious about. Share it with everybody because I want to spread the positivity as much as possible.
So Andrew said, I can't keep, it's hard to keep up with these. They're just floating.
Good.
A couple people say, so Bert, I go to click on them and they're gone. Berto says, Callus is on Pinky. Larry says, sweet, my win was joining TAC last month. Now I'm on track. Andrew says, this is the first time. See if I can grab a hold of this thing and keep it from going. Whoa, where are we at? Nope, that didn't work. Stick with me here. Pat's small win is getting my third finger more involved in finger picking with the finger roll. I clearly need a better method for figuring this out.
You're doing great, Levi.
Thank you.
You're doing great. Hang in there.
Skip has a December win. Open G string chord on neck to go with the C and D. Yes, I'm a little behind on lessons. Jamie,
Okay.
I got a Weisenborn for Christmas.
Oh, cool.
Hold on. Here we go. Joe says December was a big month for me. Skill wins include getting more comfortable with bar chords,
Nice.
and my finger picking actually sounds like something. New knowledge wins include understanding the number system, got the Art of Chords book you recommended, and
sweet.
having fun with slash chords.
Nice.
Ryan says small win, flat picking precision. Paul says reach and precision is definitely increasing with focused practice.
Nice.
So yeah, they're coming in.
Awesome.
And
awesome.
Everybody else is able to read these too. But
good. I was going to say, I just encourage you guys, it's really, and the reason I think these small wins are so important, let me just get a little philosophical on you guys. I think it's so common, and I'm very guilty of this as guitar players. You guys have probably heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. We're so focused on the next best thing or the thing we have to learn next that we seldom take a second to just reflect and say, holy smokes, I've accomplished a lot in a short amount of time. So it's really important for all of us to recognize each other's small wins, just to kind of course, encourage your fellow guitar geek, but also take a second and do some self-reflection. Be like, wow, I've had some small wins too. It helps keep us out of the guitar rut, and it also keeps that positive momentum going and kind of fights that feeling of like, gosh, am I getting any better? I don't know. So I want to fight that as much as possible because, if you're experiencing small wins, you are getting better. Even if it's, a tiny win, it's still a win and a step in the right direction. Richard
improvised for the very first time.
Sweet.
Brad is learning Angela and the Baker. Alyssa bought 2 guitars.
I was like, card? Holy smokes.
Well, Mackay has increased chord changing speed.
Nice.
Darren aced octomorphosis.
Nice. That's a tough one.
Ron is finally getting consistent, making a B minor chord.
Nice.
Charlie learned how to play Silent Night.
Sweet.
On his cigar box guitar.
Awesome. Those are way cool.
Ben learned Swallowtail Jig as his first flat picking song.
Nice. Good job.
Yeah.
A lot of firsts in that. That's really great. I appreciate you guys. Huge congrats to you guys for those of you who are celebrating firsts. It's always a little bit intimidating and scary to step out on a limb, maybe on a technique or something that you aren't comfortable with or is foreign to you. But good job. Way to go. Very, very good job.
Vincent's small win was the 45-degree angle with a flat pick, the
Nice.
toggle switch reference that you reference on the Wogie course.
Oh, cool. Cool. And again, I just want to reiterate for those of you who, if you hear the term Wogie course and you're like, what the heck is that? Go to the TAC Academy. It's the newest course in there, and just dive right in. It's got a funky name, but I think you'll really dig it. There's a lot of information in there, and just some fun little tidbits you can add.
Michael's big win is that he hasn't bought a guitar in over 6 months.
Good for you.
Bill says, I made a big leap in my slide playing.
Nice.
Let's see. Brett, small win for me is signing up for TAC and starting to practice regularly.
Fantastic. That's huge.
Okay. So we've got, of course, potentially more questions than we can get to.
Okay.
Do you want to do a lightning round and then give away the guitar, or do you want to do it the other way around?
Yeah. And this is our 30th hangout. If you guys missed that at the beginning, this is the 30th TAC hangout. And I promise you guys, I've been really working on my lightning round skills. But for those of you who have been at any of the hangouts, generally speaking, my lightning round skills are poor. I mean, I would rate them, if I was to put them as a category on the Wogie, I'd put them at like a 0.5, maybe a 0.25. So I promise you guys, it's 2017, fresh start. My lightning round skills are going to get better. And we're going to start right now. We're starting right now.
Okay.
The 30th hangout. The 30th anniversary.
I think you can do
so
this.
Epic.
Steven says 12-string dreadnought or other shape, cutaway or no?
Oh, I prefer non-cutaway and smaller body. I think it adds to the articulation and it is less mushy in terms of sound. That was good.
This might be the same Steven or a different one.
Okay.
Tony, I'm playing a lot more guitar lately. Lots of songs, but I'm not doing the lessons. Does that upset you?
No, not at all. I think any time with your guitar is fantastic time. You know, the whole goal with Tony's Acoustic Challenge is exposure and to really develop a solid practice habit. And it sounds like you're playing tunes, and that's fantastic. I think one thing to recognize that is, if you get a couple weeks or months down the line, you feel like you're playing the same tunes, dive back into the daily challenge and just get a little seed of creativity plan. You can, it really is meant as a jump start to get that practice habit rock solid and get you playing every day. So keep up the good work.
Laurel says, I have to leave a little after 3, which is probably here in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Can you get me the code for this call so I can put it in
fantastic.
Yeah.
Which I forgot about. The code for today's hangout is all lowercase, no spaces. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, HappyNewYear. Happy New Year is the code. You can grab your points and your badge for today's hangout. And of course, that being said, Happy New Year to all of you TAC members. I'm looking forward to just the most awesome year of guitar and music, and just awesome year in general, getting to know you guys more, and just continuing on the friendships and just the overall killer positivity that exists here. So Happy New Year is the code. Grab your points, grab your badge. These questions are easy. I mean, I'm like a pro with the lightning round. So
I have an easy one here for you.
Yeah.
Andrew says, when will registration be open for the 2017 Jamboree in Big Sky, Montana? I'll tell you what. It's going to open up this month, Tony. This month. We have the date that's almost confirmed, but it's in the bag.
Yeah.
And so we just need to.
Is it in the mail bag?
It is.
Yeah, it's in the mail bag right now.
Yeah, it's in the mail bag, and so we'll be actually opening that up this month. Paul has a good question for you.
Cool.
He wants some exercises specifically for fat finger problems.
Fat finger problems, specific exercises for fat finger problems. Let me say this. I think anything to do with chords, open chords, is going to help you. Here's something to consider, and hopefully I'm nailing this. I'm going to make a C chord. And I think a lot of times with people with larger fingers, we have a tendency to run into other strings. So our chord, which should sound like this, sounds like this. A lot of muting going on. So people with larger fingers, I will tend to have them almost exaggerate where they're fretting. So as opposed to fretting, if you think about it as the pad of your finger versus the tip of your finger, I want you to exaggerate all the way onto the tip of your finger, okay? And in doing so, even if you're on the tip of your finger and your palm is slightly away from the neck of your guitar, see what that does to the angle of the fretting? Immediately, I don't have any arch in my fingers. So I'm still gonna get a crummy sounding C chord. However, if I bring that fretting hand palm closer to the neck of the guitar, immediately you'll see that there's a lot more arch that develops within the fingers, leaving room for those open strings to ring, and my fingers won't necessarily be running into the other strings. So the difference is this versus this. And again, that's just with my palm closer to the neck of the guitar. That's one thing you can do. Another thing that you can do would be, and basically what I'm doing there is I'm using my fretting fingers, okay? I'm fretting the low E string, and I'm using a downstroke on the first fret, upstroke on the open A string. I'm going to the middle finger on the second fret of the low E, same picking pattern, down on the low E, up on the A. Ring finger to the third fret of the low E, down on the low E, up on the A. Pinky finger down on the fourth fret of the low E, up on the A. What this is going to do, it's a absolutely atrocious sounding exercise, but here's what it's doing for you. It's helping you get over an open string, fret it, and play it, but also maintain its openness. And what this is going to do is reinforce that arch in your fingers. If you're flat, you're going to get a thuddy A string. So it's going to the exercise in context will sound like this. And you can go down a string at a time. Don't be as sloppy as I am. It's actually hardest on the extremities, the lower strings and the higher strings. But those are two things that will help for sure. And it's all about arching the fingers and fretting on your fingertips.
Okay, Paul has a great question. what are we supposed to do with the Happy New Year code? Well, Paul, you go down to
Question.
your homepage. Just click on home when you log in. Look on the lower right, and you can paste it in. You'll see where to enter it, and that'll give you your badge. And Dave has a very similar question. Where do we go to get the badge? Well, Dave, all you have to do is, I'll paste it in here for you, but it's just all lowercase Happy New Year, and you go to the homepage.
Yep.
Scroll down on your right, paste it in there. When you submit, you get the badge for today's hangout. Did I explain that all right?
You just totally nailed it. I think it's the sweatshirt, Levi.
Oh, I feel so official right now.
I wore my sweatshirt today too. I have a Tony's Acoustic Challenge sweatshirt as well. It's blue. But as soon as I saw Levi walk in with his, I was a little miffed because I thought I was a trendsetter.
I thought you would you'd put yours on. I thought we could both be like twinsies, but with different colors.
Well, you told me I can't wear dark clothes because it doesn't make me look as good.
Well, it blows out your face. It's true. It makes your face look like a ghost.
I don't want that.
No, and nobody else wants that either.
No. Hopefully my cheeks are less red and my nose is less red than they were before.
I think you're normalized.
Okay.
You're better. Yeah.
It took me a while to get the chill out of my bones.
Lots of comments about people planning road trips to the TAC Jamboree.
Sweet.
Lots of comments about making that happen. I think this year's going to be
I
big.
think it's going to be big as well. Last year, the inaugural TAC Jamboree was so awesome, and it just created so many awesome memories. I am so looking forward to this year. In fact, I just played a gig up in Big Sky on the New Year's Day, and I had to go and pick. For those of you who know, I play with this gal in Livingston. Her name's Shelly Bessler, singer-songwriter. I had to go pick her up. She was staying at Bucks T4, and I had to go pick her up. And immediately pulling into the parking lot, I was like, oh, there's the fireplace. There's everything. You know, it just kind of got me all pumped again about the previous TAC Jamboree and, of course, the one coming up this year. So I'm super pumped for it.
RB wants to know if any Europeans are going to the TAC Jamboree. So hit him up on the forums if you are.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. If anybody from Europe's coming over, start a thread on the forum.
All right, Tony, I lost my place. That's why I was stalling.
Good job. Very professional stall.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have known.
Hold up here. You know what? Maybe let's just give away the guitar.
And then come back to
a flash round if you want to do.
Should we explain the system that we're using today?
Yeah. Well, might I offer that you explain what the giveaway is and how to get it?
Let me start there. So let me okay, guys, I'm giving away a guitar today. And the guitar that I'm giving away happens to be a Koa GS Mini with an ES2 pickup system in it. This is a really killer sounding guitar, killer looking guitar. The Koa is beautiful. The pickup system is stellar. It sounds great. It has adjustable. You can adjust the pressure on the piezo element in there. It's just a killer guitar. I'm giving this away. To whom am I giving this to? Well, if you completed the December practice plan in its entirety prior to today's hangout, you were automatically entered into the giveaway. So all you had to do is complete December's practice plan in its entirety, and you are entered to win this very guitar shipped to your doorstep. Last month's winner was Michael Taylor over in Canada, and I'm sure he's pumped. I actually sent his guitar out just recently because of the cold snap. And I'm gonna give this away to one of the lucky December practice plan finishers. Now, usually I have a magical bowl that I draw the names out of, but today's going to be a little different. Our trusty is that an Epson printer?
Yeah.
HP. Our trusty HP DeskJet
5440.
5440. Mm-hmm. The trusty HP DeskJet 5440 ran out of ink. So we're going to do the giveaway a little different today. We're going to go to Levi's screen, and he's going to go to the random number generator. He's going to pick a random number, which will coincide with a practice plan finisher from the month of December, and then that person will magically win the Koa GS Mini. Did I do that?
Do you want to run down the stairs and go into the basement, into the billiards room where I'm at right now, and join me over here on this screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what we're
those stairs are tough.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
It's nice down here, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's really good. It's nice and good.
So what we'll do then, Tony, is I suppose we can do this.
Okay.
So hopefully you guys see that
1 through 198.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're doing here.
And so we have a spreadsheet where everybody is numbered. So Tony's going to hit the button. He's going to do the honors.
I'm going to hit the button here.
As soon as I find that screen. Okay, Tony.
There we go.
That's
Okay.
it. Just click it
Just
right
click
there.
it?
Just click the
Here
button.
we go. Just clicked it.
70.
70. Number 70.
Okay.
You guys don't know the numbers, but we're going to consult the spreadsheet right now.
Yep. So let's go over here to the technology.
Okay.
And whoa, hey,
Hey, guys.
there's us again.
Yeah, number 70.
And we can maybe I
Where's
think
the thing?
the thing is it's not
That's it right there. Right?
that is okay.
That's it.
We found the thing.
Yeah.
Takes two.
I feel like
And here we're gonna go down to
Number
70. And
Tony D.
Tony D.
Tony D. What a fantastic name.
Awesome. So whoa, there we go. We're back.
We don't have any claps.
Run back upstairs while I find the claps.
Stand by. Let me run upstairs.
Okay. I had them all ready last time.
Whew. Huh. Gosh, I got Tony D's Koa GS Mini here, and it seems like Levi he's in the brain center of the building right now, searching through some technology.
So who won?
Well, Levi, I'm glad you asked that. Tony D, TAC member Tony D won the GS Mini Koa.
Oh,
there's the studio.
congratulations.
So the live studio audience was a little mellow when we first announced, so I'm glad they woke up. Good job, guys. Really appreciate that. Tony D, I'll be sending you an email and getting this GS Mini out to you. Congratulations on finishing. That is fantastic. I'm super pumped for you and for everybody that completed the December practice plan. That in and of itself is a victory. If you can just commit to practicing every single day, just logging in, grabbing the exercise, giving it a 10-minute whirl. And if it takes you a little bit longer, that's fine too. But minimum of 10 minutes, mark that puppy complete, gets you through the practice plan. I think that's awesome and a great way to develop a good, solid practice habit, which is what I really want everybody to do.
Do you want to do a lightning round?
Since I'm so good, I mean, totally.
Yeah. Do you guys want to stick around for a few and do more questions? Okay. I had this one that popped in here, and it was from Jeff, and I thought it was pretty good.
I'm a little chilly.
It's so warm over here. Okay. Jeff says, do you have a recommendation for a good chair to practice in?
Yeah. Actually, the one I'm sitting on, I'm going to move it and try and put it back in the same spot. It is a rock and sock. It's a stool. They come in different heights, but I'll tell you right now, I'm going to find my markers here. It is the most comfortable chair I've ever sat in. They make some with like a kind of a saddle seat. They make some with a saddle seat in the back, but they are fantastic, very comfortable, and they don't have arms on them. So they're perfect.
Lightning round. Andrew, do you actually use the reel-to-reel recorders we see behind you?
I haven't used them yet. They're my dad's, and he has a bunch of old recordings that I still have to go through. So they are new acquisitions to me, and I haven't yet figured them out, but I'm going to.
Alyssa says, can you do another Teespring TAC campaign? Got to have the red hoodie. Answer, yes. Okay, next. We'll definitely do that for sure. Colin really wants to know more about strumming. I can't find anything that tells me how many strings do I strum.
Great question. Let me do the quickest answer I can. First, let me say this. If you have not yet seen the Strumming Jumpstart course, floating dog here. If you have not yet seen the Strumming Jumpstart course in the TAC Academy, that would be a great place to visit just for general strumming rules and things like that. But as far as the basic rules of how many strings do you strum, generally speaking, on a downstroke, which is a strong beat, you'll get the majority of the strings. However, on an upstroke, I usually only hit, 3 strings, maybe 2. So it'd be something like this. it's really asking yourself the question, what strum or what beat do you want accented? Generally, the up strums or the off beats aren't accented as loudly as the down beats. So think of it as the up strums are like a tickle and the down strums are like an exclamation point.
Do you recall if that was covered in your Strumming 101 course?
I thought it was, but now I'm questioning.
Okay.
I haven't visited that since we filmed it. So
Colin, if you haven't checked out that course, check it out and then email Tony if you have more questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris made a comment, but this question comes up a lot, so I thought maybe you could talk about it.
Yeah.
Chris says, I'm more concerned on doing the lessons right rather than doing 10 or so minutes to say that I completed the lesson.
Sure. I think, well, I battle with the same exact thing. And I think there's two ways to look at it. The reason I recommend 10 minutes is just for sheer exposure. Some of the exercises are going to totally grab you and you're going to want to sit there until you totally master them. That's fine. Some of them you're not going to like so much. That's okay. So that's why I say 10 minutes minimum. However, if you're one of the types that really just want to kind of sequentially master everything or get proficient at everything, that's fine too. Just remember to be patient with yourself and just know that it's probably going to take a little bit longer than 10 minutes every single day. That's why I set that 10-minute mark just to kind of get things rolling. But if you feel like, holy smokes, the month is getting away from me, I can't keep up with everything, just go ahead and favorite things. Even if you're not getting to it that day, if you go ahead and favorite it, it's pulled into your own favorites bin and you can visit it whenever you want. This way, when the next month comes and then the previous month or the month prior to the previous month goes away, you can still grab those exercises.
Tony, I'm going to try something real quick because we do keep getting some questions on where to put the activity code.
Uh-huh. Are you using technology right now?
I might try to use technology here for a sec.
Okay.
So let me see what happens. All right. So
I think you're doing great.
I'm just going to show new members.
Okay.
There are a handful of people that just want to know right where to put that code. So I'm on the home page. So as soon as I log in, this is where it's going to take me. And if I find myself anywhere else on the site, all I have to do is click home to get back to home. So now you just scroll down and paste in that activity code right there and hit submit. And that should do the trick.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great job.
Pretty see, I'm partaking in the lightning.
Yeah, it was good. That was very lightning.
Thank you.
I'm glad you reminded me it was a lightning round before, because that could have really went off on a tangent there.
I'm trying to find where I left off here. Ken says, what are your opinions on CF guitars?
CF guitars.
Yeah, I'm not.
CF guitars. I'm paging through the archives, and for some reason, I am not. Nothing's ringing a bell.
Okay. Henrik wants to know, should I buy a used Martin 0015 SM? Yes or no?
If you're looking for a great finger picking guitar, shorter scale length, nice kind of full bold sound on the warmer end of the spectrum, it's a perfect guitar for you. All solid mahogany and again a great finger picker. So I would recommend it if that sounds like what you're looking for.
I'm trying to find. Melissa had a question actually on this topic. I'll try to find it. Oh yeah, here it is. Really loved your Guild D20 review. Do you think it's all mahogany construction makes it lack in volume at all?
I would say yes. That's a good question. This is gonna be tough. Okay, I'm gonna do it's lightning. I would say yes is my first kind of gut feeling. Is it's not the loudest guitar I've ever played, but it had great depth of tone, and I think that's oftentimes those two things are confused with. A loud guitar equals good, and a quiet guitar equals not good. That's not true. I think there's a lot of factors on whether a guitar is good or, for a certain type of playing. I thought the D20 yielded a really bold, warm tone, but it wasn't the loudest guitar that I played. That being said, perfect for use in the studio, a great finger-picking dreadnought, a great singer-songwriter accompanying guitar, and in the right situation, if it's a duo and banjos weren't around, it'd be a great bluegrass guitar as well. I thought it was a phenomenal guitar with really warm, kind of good, bold, warm tone.
Coming back to Ken, CF stands for carbon fiber.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I got it right away when somebody said that.
And the initial question was, what's my opinion on them?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that upon my first exposure to them, I completely hated them. But I think it was the viewpoint with which I was coming to them from. I thought they should sound like a wood guitar. I play I love my HD 35, and I played, I forget what it was, a composite acoustics. It was a Dread. I forget the model. But I expected it to yield a very woody tone. It didn't, because it wasn't made out of wood. It was made out of carbon fiber. Now that I've been exposed to more carbon fiber guitars, I see their merits and I see where they excel. I see that they can have good tone, but you have to keep in mind that it's not a wooden guitar. It's not going to act like a wooden guitar. So that being said, I think carbon fiber guitars do have their merits. I think they excel as travel instruments. They excel as instruments that, if you have a tendency to, if you're hard on your instruments, if you take them in and out of clubs, if you go on trips with them, carbon fiber is a fantastic material because it's light, it's stiff, and it can produce very, very good tone.
Okay, so Anita and Melissa have small hands and would like some tips.
First and foremost, make sure you have an instrument that fits you. And I say this, if you happen to have an instrument with a wider nut width, 1 7/8 or 1 3/4, you might not have the best success. So a nut width of 1 11/16, it would probably be the best fit for you. That being the case, exactly what I had mentioned before to the fat fingered question, I would mention to the small hands as well. Make sure you're exaggerating on how much you fret on your fingertips, and of course, increase that arch in your fingers while you're fretting. So instead of fretting, with your palm away from the neck of the guitar, bring that palm closer to the guitar. Your fingers will be able to move around much easier, and you'll get more arch in your fingers. And then, of course, one more step beyond that, for those of you with smaller hands, don't be afraid to play just a piece of a chord. I say this a lot in reference to bar chords, but, there's nothing wrong with playing a G like this, as opposed to this. You're missing a little bass, that's for sure, but you're still playing a G. So if you're playing that in song, it's still gonna do the same thing. So if you have to modify the chords a little bit so that they're comfortable for you, that's totally okay.
Chris says, thanks, Tony, for clarifying my lesson dilemma. I have to go and shovel the snow in my driveway. See you next month. By the way, 13 degrees here in Sudbury, Ontario.
Go for a run. I mean, wear your shorts. It'll be okay.
So Rob is a new member, and he's got a question. He says, I didn't finish December. Do I need to mark everything completed in order to see January? I don't see January in my courses. So if you want to explain that, I can just go and do a screen share.
Yeah. So that's a great question. You don't have to go back and mark everything completed. However, I will recommend that if you happen to want to grab those exercises from December, they will be available till the end of January. If you want access to them beyond that, please favorite them. That being said, when you log in, go to your home page, you'll see that there's a kind of a green section and then a white button that says Practice Plan January 2017. Once you click on that, you'll see all of January 2017. And then, of course, once you start on your first exercise and complete it, it'll be pulled into your My Courses field. And,
so this button right here where my little hand is, actually, I think I can get it to, So click on that, and that just takes you straight to the current practice plan. And then you would go here to the last month's practice plan. Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah, and then, of course, and just again, just to mention, once you finish one exercise from January, it's immediately pulled into your My Courses page, so you can access it later from there, or that home page. Either way is fine.
Here's a lightning one. Jeff says, do you prefer new or used?
Used.
Okay. Fantastic.
There's so many explanations I want to offer for that, but
you get 3. Go.
I like them both. Used, you can't simulate old wood because used just sounds better. But new, you get the warranty. New, you get to put your own dings in it, so it kind of becomes uniquely your own. But used, they all have a story. I don't know. I just like good guitars. I can't say I separate. I retract my answer and say that I like both.
Nice. All right. Oh, this is a fantastic question here from Melissa. Where in the forum would I find your Blackhawks defeat song when you upload it?
Well, what would be the best place to? I mean, it'd be funny, so it could be under Friday Funnies, but it's going to be posted tomorrow. Where should I put that? Pickers Lounge? I'll put it in the Pickers Lounge.
Pickers Lounge. Oh, but speaking of the Friday Funny,
yeah,
we're still waiting for people to get rocking on that. It doesn't have to be guitar related.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Just anything that gives us a chuckle on Friday.
Yes. So anybody that finds,
and us being the community of guitar geeks.
Anybody that finds anything funny on Friday, post it in the Friday Funny. It's a great way to kind of celebrate the upcoming weekend. But yes, Melissa, for your to answer your question directly, just check the Pickers Lounge. Quite possibly tonight, quite possibly tomorrow morning. I've been working on your tune. I believe it's going to be a waltz. It's going to have kind of this kind of chord progression. Something like that. But you'll see it. It'll be great.
Okay, I've got a left field one for you. And by the way, I feel like I've made it through most of these questions. So if you're waiting for your question to get answered, and I'm just blind to it, I appear to be ignoring your question, just type it again with the red question mark, and it'll put it at the top of my queue, so I make sure to see it. Okay, where I think I lost the thing.
Speaking of losing questions,
was it Cheryl? Hold on. There's a very specific. Hang with me. Tell a joke. No, I'm not seeing it. Okay, going back to the top. Bailing out. Best strings, ND gauge, and best traveling case for airport travel.
Say it again.
Best strings, ND gauge. Maybe that was a typo. Does he mean ND?
And gauge? Best strings and gauge.
Best strings and gauge, and best travel case for airport travel.
So I really like the Elixir Phosphor Bronze NanoWeb mediums on dreads, lights on my smaller body guitars. As far as flight cases, they're not cheap, but they're very, very much worth it. Calton, Calton, makes a great flight case. Karura, Karura, and also Price fiberglass cases. And those, of course, I rank those in order of experience. I have a Calton case. I love it. I checked it on my way back from Nashville a couple of years ago and was very worried about my guitar, but it survived okay. It survived, not just okay, it survived. So yeah, they're heavy, but their recent redesign lightened them up a little bit, and they're very, very, very tough. Also, I want to mention Hoffee, Hoffee. Those are carbon fiber cases. Those are very light. I believe those are made in Chicago too, but those are nice cases as well.
I don't know if you said this, but Vic G mentioned Calton cases.
Yeah.
You did.
Calton, yeah, for the Calton or Calton, I don't know how to pronounce it, but they just recently moved to Austin in the last 2 years or so, and they redesigned the cases. They're really, really nice. Okay,
so we've got some thoughts and suggestions. I'll read it to you, and you. This is from Joey.
Okay,
and says, do you think you will ever be able to add a function to the site that allows you to save your progress regarding what BPM you've accomplished for particular exercises that are repeated in the course?
Probably. Well,
I think the feedback is key, but it doesn't seem like it would be like in the immediate future, but hearing things like that, I think is good.
Yeah. I mean, we're always welcome to feedback, and we're always looking on how to make things better. That's definitely not on the horizon, but I'm glad to hear that. We have kind of started to institute things with like the practice log workbook and things like that, but which you can find in the Wogie workshop, where you can manually record it. But we don't currently have anything that will track its progress. But it's certainly not
feedback noted.
Yeah, feedback noted.
Bradley says, "Is there a new song in the pipeline?"
Yes, there is. It's on my other computer. If I was to suggest that it might sound a lot like 9 Pound Hammer, that would be my suggestion. It's a really cool arrangement, actually. It's a very let's call it a banjo derived arrangement of 9 Pound Hammer. You guys will dig it.
Cameron says, do you think you could create a section on TAC that just has all of your backing tracks and just tells you, what key they are in? That would be awesome.
Yeah, actually, we've talked about creating a backing track library before. So that's definitely, it's in our queue of things. And also you'll notice in January, I've started to title the exercises a little bit differently. I still use a funny title because I just can't let go of that. But I've also placed the key and what category they're in. So it'll give it a little bit more context as far as, even if you're searching through your favorites, you'll be able to identify keys just based on the title as opposed to having to open it. So
would love to hear, is anybody else interested in this backing track library?
Yeah.
Would love to hear feedback on that.
For sure.
If that's a thing. What kind of pickup is in that Martin, and which clip-on pickups do you recommend? That's from Kevin.
Actually, that I'll answer. Two birds with one stone here. This is a DiMarzio Black Angel sound pickup. This is installed internally. However, you can get the version where the cord comes out the front, so it can be removable. So I really like this pickup. It's a very brilliant sounding sound hole pickup, but it does maintain some of the body resonance as well. As far as other pickups that you can just kind of put on, there are other ones, but I don't love the tone of them. One of the ones that I think sounds okay, but it's like 50. I don't really love it. It's the what is it? It's a Schertler, the Schertler Basic, BASIK, and it's actually a contact pickup. It putties onto the top of your guitar, which I'm just not comfortable with. I know some players are fine with it, but it uses like a sticky putty. And you put it on the surface of your guitar. I've heard that offers good results, but I'm just not going to put putty on my guitar. So that's an option if you want to pursue it, but not one for me. So DiMarzio Black Angel is really what I go with.
So we've got 9 people out of 138 who say that they would like backing tracks.
Okay.
I assume some more will come in if they really dig it.
Yeah.
And Judith says some very good guitar players like Matt Anderson can play strumming and in the same time pick notes. What is the trick to doing this?
So that really kind of verges on what I would call hybrid picking. And essentially what they're doing, I'll just kind of explain this really quick. You're holding the pick, and then you're using your middle and your ring finger to actually finger pick. So if I was to do something like that, it would be... So essentially, you get the best of both worlds. You're getting, if you want to strum and flat pick, you can use the flat pick. If you want to do some finger picking, you can use your middle and ring finger. It's a technique called hybrid picking. There is, in the 76 quick lessons, there is a little piece on that. But I would also say that, 2017 is going to be an awesome year. So I'd certainly be open to feedback on if you guys wanted a course, say centered around hybrid picking. I could certainly pull something together if you guys were interested. I mean,
I totally missed that. Zoned out.
You missed it? Yeah. If you see comments about hybrid picking, just
right.
Yeah.
That's where we left off. Judith, hybrid picking. Lots more +1s coming in for backing tracks.
Cool.
And Julie has a fantastic comment. Remember telling us about trying out a different instrument when frustrated with guitar?
Yes.
My dad sent his old bugle and his dad's harmonica from 1964. Cool Christmas surprise under the tree.
Very cool. And just to reiterate that, yeah, if you guys are ever feeling like you're just banging your head against the wall with your guitar, just try something else. Harmonica, bugle, anything that gives you different context on your quote unquote main instrument, if it is guitar. Just a little insight into my personal musical explorations. Levi, if you don't know, is a drummer. I don't know anything about drums, but I bought a drum kit and am teaching myself and it's offering me wonderful perspective on how difficult it is to drum, actually, and even just setting up the drums, which Levi showed me how to do this morning. So
it was fun. So many parallels to guitar.
Yeah,
I mean, oddly, it is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's very intimidating, but I'm really digging it. I'm just trying to keep an open mind, and by the end of 2017, I think I'm gonna be a ripping drummer.
Trace is way ahead of you, though.
He is.
So you need to get rolling on that.
I know.
Congrats to Trace. How long ago was that? Was that 2 months, Trace?
I think
or
2 months.
Waiting. I don't see
Trace. Check.
But yeah,
check.
it's been
Bueller.
Anita wants me to teach drums here on Tony's Acoustic Challenge.
Okay.
As long as we don't mic them, they'd be acoustic.
Yeah.
So Brendan wants to know if you have any tips on strumming without a pick.
That's a great question. So generally what I do is kind of a cross between finger picking and strumming. I'll use my thumb for the bass note, much like I would if I was finger picking. And then I'll use the tops of my fingernails to strum down. So I'll do something like. So that thumb is accenting the bass note. And I'm getting that downward strum with the tops of my fingers. It kind of keeps things from sounding, crazy. If I was just strumming with my fingers, I don't have a clear downbeat, but singling out that thumb really helps. And then, of course, if you want to add an upbeat, generally what I do is I just kind of hit that high string. So it'd be like. When I do that with my middle finger, I just kind of come back and grab that high string. But that's how I do it without a pick in my hand. Certainly doable. James Taylor is phenomenal at it, as are many other guitarists, but he's the first one that came to mind there.
Andrew says, when playing a baritone guitar with normally tuned guitars, do you play the same chord or a complementary chord?
Good question. So a baritone guitar is tuned lower than a standard guitar, and the scale length is much longer. In fact, a baritone guitar is tuned B, E, A, D, F sharp, B. Pretty sure that's right. Pretty sure. Yeah, it is. So you can use the same chord shapes as you would on a regularly tuned guitar. However, they will be different. So if I play, let's say I'm playing let's say I'm playing a C shape on a baritone guitar, that would actually be a G chord. So the shapes function the same in terms of you'll be able to get a good sound, but the actual chord that you're playing won't match what it would be on a standard guitar. So it definitely would behoove any baritone guitar owner to really examine the roots of the chords, what note it actually is on the baritone guitar. Because again, C shape on a baritone guitar is actually a G chord.
Vic G wants to know what guitars are in the queue for review.
Do we have? Well, I've got.
Actually, there are a few. And now that I think about it,
we do have a few
of yours. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I have my guitars that I'm going to be reviewing, but I also have Guild is I've been really digging the Guild guitars lately, and they've been so helpful and super excited about the reviews. So I'm in communication with Guild, also Bourgeois, also Santa Cruz. Still, this is a difficult time because everything's really NAMM focused, which is the big trade show. So it's hard for me to get guitars this time of year because all their focus is on the NAMM show. But once NAMM is done, new products have been launched. I'm sure excited as to what I'll be able to get my hands on. I don't know for sure yet, but I know that a lot of companies have been reaching out, and there's some communications back and forth about that. So stay tuned. Nothing immediately in the hopper, but definitely Guild, definitely Santa Cruz, and also is it Andrew White? Andrew White guitars?
Yeah, I think it is.
Levi's looking at me like, huh? Yeah, Andrew White guitars, I think, as well. So a lot of stuff cooking, but not quite ready to go yet.
The Guild Jumbo Junior, that would actually be fantastic.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
In fact, we might just order one of those.
Yeah, just to compare that to the Martin and the Taylor, that'd be great. we have a question from Colin. Cheryl's got an awesome question. Steven's got a question, and then I think we'll be ready to wrap it up.
Cool.
So Colin says, how do I save exercises to favorites?
Great question. So as you encounter that daily exercise, go ahead and click on it, open it up. You'll see the video. Above the video, you'll see a spot to download the exercise, a spot for tabs, and then also a star that says favorites.
Right here.
All you have to do to favorite that is click on that star, and it'll be pulled into your favorites bin. And it's as easy as that, just clicking on that favorite button.
Cool. I did a little screen share there. That
Nice.
should
You are just on it with the tech today.
Popping back and forth, just all over it.
Almost a ninja, almost a web navigation ninja.
Thank you, Tone.
If you will.
Thank you, Tone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tone.
You're welcome, Levi.
Yeah. Inside. Okay. So, what was I going to say? It was fantastic. Oh, so we've got a ton of people that want to see this backing track library.
Okay.
And then there are a ton of people who want to see a hybrid picking course.
Sweet.
Yeah. Lots of peeps.
Noted.
I tried to stop myself from shortening people to peeps. I got halfway through it and I'm like, you don't say that. People don't actually use that. But then the PS came out and I had finished it. Yeah,
it's okay. It really shows that you're hip.
Yeah.
Is what it does.
I'm with it. So Cheryl says, how do I research old antique guitars? This one is Venezuelan made Hermanos Ramirez, parlor or child size inlaid guitar. Tried internet with limited results. What are some other options?
There's two individuals in the guitar world that I think are fantastic. John Bernunzio, he's out on the East Coast, and of course George Gruen in Nashville. There's also Carter's Vintage Guitars in Nashville, or Stan Werbin at Elderly Instruments. There's actually a lot. Some of the really kind of prevalent vintage guitar dealers would be a great help. Norman's Rare Guitars, also out on the East Coast. But you can get, George Gruen published a vintage guitar guide, which is really interesting for any guitar geek out there. It shows common traits of brands in certain years. I mean, it really is really cool.
Can you spell Gruen?
Yeah, Gruhn, George Gruen, Gruhn. So that would be at least a really good starting point. It never hurts to shoot any of those stores an email with some pictures and say, hey, I got this old guitar. I know nothing about it. Can you help me? They're guitar geeks, and generally speaking, they will help out because especially George, he's just a wealth of knowledge. And, every time I feel like he's stumped, he knows the way. he's a wizard, if you will. So definitely check out George.
Larry wants to know, what amp would you recommend for an acoustic beginner?
Love the Fishman Loudbox. It comes in a couple different varieties. There's a Fishman Loudbox Artist. There's the Fishman Loudbox Mini, which is the one I'd recommend if you're just kind of dabbling. But there's other acoustic amps out there, but honestly, I can't recommend anything more than the Fishman Loudbox. I think it's just sonically, it's great. It's offered in a bunch of different price ranges, and I think your experience will be fantastic with it.
Rod says, will you ever review the Yamaha Trans acoustic guitar or the wood tone amp?
I've actually, I want to review the wood tone amp. I've played the Yamaha Trans acoustic, but haven't gotten one here to review. Let me just say that I will be focusing my efforts on getting a wood tone amp because I think that would be very cool to review. The Yamaha might be a little bit more difficult to get. And I also feel that the wood tone would be a better product to review.
Mark says, one of my goals for 2017 is to play slide more, hoping to see a slide course, but can you recommend a good book or program for learning round neck slide guitar?
Yes. I want to say, so here go to Homespun has some stuff that is offered, and I want to say Keb Mo does one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Keb Mo does one, discussing technique and things like that. Also, I want to say, the names escape me. I can't think of it. Homespun is a great place to start. Also, there's a there's a book published by Hal Leonard called Slide Guitar Roadmaps, which is just it's a small book, but don't let that fool you. It's actually packed with a lot of really useful information. So that's another option. I'm trying to think of who wrote that, because I think that's who does the other video, but I don't know off the top of my head.
And from Steven, what are the better woods for a 12 string? I think this is our last question, unless another one comes in.
Okay, I generally prefer warmer tone woods, so just a general spruce top, but mahogany back and sides. I really like that because it adds some lushness to it. Rosewood can tend to be a little bit boomy and overshadow the tone, but if you guys haven't checked out that Taylor that Taylor 12 string that I reviewed, it was maple back and sides, and that was a great match too. So I really like mahogany. I really like maple. Rosewood can be overpowering, but a spruce top is fantastic. So spruce and maple or mahogany is a great recipe.
Alyssa says, do you use any guitar gadgets? I finally tried my Tonewood amp on my Martin Dreadnought Jr., which is awesome.
You know, I can't say that I do. I always flirt with the idea of using guitar gadgets, like looper pedals and things like that, or just general effects. And to be honest, I get a little intimidated by them. It just takes me out of my element. Maybe that's something I should try for this year. But no, I don't have a ton of guitar gadgets other than, just a basic tuner and I use a Fishman Aura DI. I use a Boss tuner pedal. That's about as gadget geeky as I get. But I'm open to suggestions. If you guys ever have something that I should try, please email me, and I'd be happy to delve into it. Although it's intimidating, I don't mind at least giving it a shot.
Richard's heading out, but wants to let you know that he loves the workshop format and thinks it has improved quite a bit since the last time you tuned in.
That's fantastic.
So before we go, before your parting words, would you mind if I rattle off? It's kind of unbelievable how many people are still here, and we are setting a record at 100 or 100 at an hour and 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? So, it doesn't feel like it's been that long.
I know, but we have 113 people who are still here live with us right now.
Thanks, guys.
That includes Cheryl, Allrock, Alan, Anita, Arve, Aubrey, Alyssa, Bradley, Bryce, Fred, Colin, Brendan, 80, Dave, Donna, Dom T, Don, H, Dave, Cynthia, Francis, Gord, Gerald, Gilbert, Gary, Henrik, Larry, Jeff, James, Edsel, Jimmy, Leonard, Joey, John, Keith, Susan, Ken, Jeff, Larry, Christian, Mackay. And then, of course, there's Stephen, Noah, DC, Carl, James, Dwayne, Juan, Michael, Allendale, Douglas, Scott, Bill, Dolph, Judith, Mark S, Joe, Julie, Bill, Wayne, Vic G, Dee Dee, Tom, Steve, Simone, Sharon, Michael, Pat, Rob, Rod, Richard, Ryder, Ray, Ralph, Peter, Paul, Norman,
Mary,
Kevin,
no, just kidding,
Joe, Michael, Melissa, Marty, Mark, and that's everybody.
Wow. Holy smokes, guys. Thank you. And by the way, Levi, fantastic job going through that.
Thanks. There weren't any really hard ones to pronounce. I'm sure I messed one up.
You did good. Well, holy smokes, guys. I just want to say thank you all for hanging out live for this long. This is our longest one yet, 1 hour and 45 minutes. And
Vic G wants to know what's in store for 2017. Real focus, specific question.
Does that mean I need to give a focused answer?
I don't think it can be, because there's nothing but amazingness coming.
Yeah, I can say this with a strong wink and a nod. Pay very special attention to the TAC Academy section in 2017. And that's about as focused as I'll get on that. And then, of course, a lot of really great stuff.
Things have changed in a fundamental way, a really big way, to where you can actually focus on creating a lot more courses and stuff like that. So it's a whole new world for us, and hopefully, that'll come through loud and clear.
Yeah, and Levi's referring to TAC headquarters. So we're excited for 2017 and the freed up mental bandwidth that has occurred that will allow us to exercise our creative muscles, if you will. So I'll leave it at that. I want to thank everybody for hanging out live. Really appreciate it. I know that time is a precious thing, and I appreciate you guys sharing it with us. These are always a blast. I enjoy it. It's no doubt that these keep getting longer and longer because they're a blast. They go fast, and you guys got to see me run in shorts on a 0-degree day. So you can't beat that. Happy New Year to everybody. May this be an awesome year for all of you, both with the guitar and, of course, just with just in general. Just an awesome year. And thanks again for hanging out. I'll see you guys on the lessons. Have a great rest of your day, and keep up the awesome work. If you guys ever need anything, just holler, and rock and roll. Peace, love, and happiness. Levi, do you have any little slogans you want to add?
I don't have a slogan.
Okay. Keep rocking in the free world.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at the Gorge in George, Washington, and Pearl Jam and Neil, I almost blanked his name.
Yeah.
And that guy that wrote the song. And Neil Young, they did that together on the stage. It was very memorable.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So that was Levi's slogan.
That'll be my slogan.
Yeah, keep rocking in the free world,
deal.
says Levi. But thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the day. I'll see you on the lessons. And don't forget to add that code in your activity code box on your homepage. Happy New Year. We'll get you the points. And
what is the code?
Happy New Year.
All lowercase, no
All
spaces.
lowercase, no spaces.
Cool.
Boom. Boom shakalaka. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you later.